Hey guys, so consider this a bit of a double review for Dizzy Art, aka Michelle's two stories that she did in the past couple of days. First of all, we're going to talk about the Metamorphosed to Malleability story. I think that is, I believe, 259, I believe, in this case. I have to check, hold on. Like I said, 259. And this is a bit of a, I guess you could say, a bit of a filler one, if you will. Long story short, it kind of continues off where the ending of 258 left off. And basically, Crystal gets up. She's got to get ready for work. Briella's kind of like in two positions at once, since she can basically split herself in two when it comes to her shapeshifting. So she's serving as Crystal's blanket, that's keeping her warm, as well as basically hanging out in the balcony and figuring out, okay, what her next step's going to be, since she's been offered this position to be senior researcher with Genesis. Now, we have to remember that she did make a promise to her fiance and to her best friend that if they require Briella to give a DNA test, Briella is going to reject the senior researcher job. So hopefully that does not happen, but one thing Michelle Desi Arts likes to do is kind of put a little twist here and there of something like that potentially happening. Now, with that said, like I said, it was just mainly a filler episode, a little fun filler episode, and kind of helps move the story along just a bit. You get a little bit of a hint that these two are going to get into that frisky mode eventually, intimate NFSW frisky mode eventually, and it's displayed basically by the fact that when Crystal gets up, Briella, kind of, basically pulls herself together, or at least I think she does pull herself together, and goes into the bathroom to essentially turn into a towel, because I guess the routine is when they stay together and Crystal has to, get ready for work or go somewhere, basically when she takes a shower, or after she's done taking the shower, Briella will serve as her towel or her hand cloth or facial cloth or whatever. So basically that's kind of what it is. They kind of have fun in the bathroom, not totally erotic NFSW like they would be known to do in the story at times, but basically just enough to kind of give us an idea of what they may be up to later on. Now, what I mean by that is essentially the fact that after Crystal takes a shower and then uses Briella as her facial cloth, hand cloth, and a towel, she decides to kind of sit down, get herself, put her face on, if you will, and Briella decides to have a little bit of fun at the same time, because she's feeling a little frisky, like she was kind of like a little, not too hard, but kind of understandingly firm with Crystal. When Crystal, of course, in the previous chapter, suggested, hold on for a sec, suggested that, hold on for a sec, sorry about that, but like I said, she feels a little bad, a little bit, for being a bit firm, understandingly firm, lovingly firm with Crystal, because Crystal had, offered to, basically, let her DNA and hair sample, whatever, if needed, to be used. And Briella was firm on the fact that no, that's not going to happen. So to make up for it, basically, Briella starts to get a little frisky, a little fun, and basically starts to cover up most of Crystal's body from toe to head. Well, almost head. Basically, she doesn't do the crown, which is like where the hair is and all that, but most of the head, well, mainly head to toe, except for the crown area, the hair and everything, where Crystal's hair could stick out. And she basically turns her essentially by enveloping Crystal and everything, she essentially turns her into a humanoid snake woman. And Crystal kind of gets into it because she notices, the little snake tail wagging almost, on its own. Well, mainly it is because it's Briella, wagging on its own excitedly. And she also notices that even before this, that, Briella's kind of being very intimate, giving her kisses in the upper region, if you know what I mean. And that's before she envelops her whole body in this little outfit. And the end result, after she does all that, and then, like I said, envelops her, is she turns Crystal into a humanoid snake woman. And like I said, Crystal plays along for a bit, and says, and basically says something like, with a snake-like hiss, she goes like, "It's not." Okay, let me correct myself. All right, she basically, after Briella covers her and everything, into making her a snake woman temporarily. Like I said, Crystal plays along with it, and Crystal even uses a bit of a lisp, if you will, to create a hiss, if you will, because she's now disguised as a snake woman, and she's like, "It's not fair," just getting into it a bit, having a little bit of fun. But it doesn't last long because she reminds Briella she's got to get ready for work and all that, so Briella relents, lets her get ready. But Crystal does say, "Hey, we can have fun." Basically, Crystal hints at the fact that, hey, we can have fun later, after you do this phone call and everything, and also giving me a full report. So essentially, what happens this upcoming Thursday or Friday, depending on when Michelle Desiarts drops the 260th shift / chapter, if you will, of Metamorphosed to Malleability. Whenever she does decide to drop it, that's basically not only when we're going to get like an answer as to exactly where Briella's going to go in her decision, but whether or not we're going to get a bit of friskiness, or they're going to hold off for a little bit. Now, it is indicated at the end of this one, at the end of this part, that after seeing Crystal off and everything, that Briella does feel confident, because Briella has made the promise, as she's having a little bit of fun with Crystal, covering her from head to toe and all that she made a promise to protect everyone around her. No matter, how she has to do it, she made a promise to protect everyone around her, including Crystal, because, of course, in a sense, with a sensual mindset at the time when she's enveloping her friend in this little outfit, or her girlfriend and fiance in this little outfit, she makes she reminds herself of the promise of not only protecting her friends, but protecting her fiance and also every inch of her fiance's body. It's like, I'm not going to let anything happen to her ever again. So, yeah, so basically, long story short, they have a little fun, not too frisky and everything. Crystal, like I said, reminds her she's got to get ready for work, which, like I said, Briella relentlessly lets her do, with the possible idea that they could get frisky later on, after everything, takes place, everything happens. And that's pretty much about it with the story, because then, Briella, after having this moment with her and everything, with Crystal, that is, has more confidence that this might be the right decision to make, to be the senior researcher at Surrey Genesis, because not only would it allow her probably more of an opportunity to learn exactly what, her power is capable of, what the powers of this other Alpha, Omega, whatever they are, is capable of, but, also in a way, also probably try to figure out in a way who was behind that Weimar, going after them. So we'll just have to wait till this Thursday, for that to take place, or this Friday, depending, like I said, when Desiarts Michelle, Desiarts Michelle releases it. But it is getting interesting. I mean, we are basically now, as soon as 260 hits, 15 weeks away from 275. So whatever she's got planned for 275 in the next 15 weeks, which I think leads into the summer. I think it leads into the summer and all that. Hold on for a sec. I think it leads into the summer. Hold on. So yeah, whatever she's got planned for August 17th, which ironically is my niece's birthday, when it comes to this, when it comes to this story and everything, it's anniversary. Whatever she's got planned, obviously it's going to be big. It's going to be huge. Because that's a huge anniversary. That's a milestone right there. But like I said, right now, this one was just more filler, a bit of more, story building and all that, character building for Briella to have the confidence to want to accept this, accept this position so that she can learn more about what she's capable of, have more, I guess, access to stuff that could help her out, as well as, potentially find out who was after her in the first place, that was helping Zetweimer in the process, get more information. So again, we are just, after this week, we're about, 14 and a half weeks away from 275. And that to me, like I said, is going to be a huge deal because I don't know what she's got planned. Honestly, I mean, she might have the wedding planned, for that part of the story. She may not. She might decide, hey, 275, I'm just going to let Briella and Crystal get frisky and fun and crazy and all that. That might happen. 275 might even, be the one where Crystal gets powers identical, if not similar to Briella's. We don't know. We don't know. But it's going to be interesting. I will say that it will be interesting, to see how she develops this, as we, start the road to 275 this week. Because it's going to come around a lot quicker than you think, guys. Believe me. I mean, it's already May 1st. And in 3 days, we got May 4th, which is known for the May the 4th be with you. And, we're already into a theme for this month that a lot of artists and writers love to take part in because of the creativity and them allowing them, I should say, to get as crazy and as wacky as they want to. Just let loose, if you know what I mean, with their ideas and everything. But yeah, so far 260 was okay. I mean, not 260, but 259 was okay. And 260, cannot wait to see, like I said, what she's got in store for that. She might surprise us with the decision Briella makes, depending. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, she's known to always throw a little bit of a curveball here and there with this story series and stuff, or any of her series. I mean, when she did the Unlimited series, she threw that little curveball at the end of one of the final chapters where it looked like the main character basically got erased from existence because the two female characters they had become wanted their own independence, or become so sentient and independent that they didn't, want to be connected to him anymore, and then nearly wiped him out. So yeah, she's known to do these kind of things, and if she does it here with 260 on Thursday or Friday, depending on when she drops it, I wouldn't be surprised, but we'll see what happens. Again, I'm still of the impression that I think her best friend Elania's fiance, his or boyfriend, has some kind of connection to this. I don't know why, because again, why would Elania want to hide Briella and what she's capable of doing from her fiance if he can be trusted? So that's something to keep an eye out for. And also, like I said, I'm not going to be surprised that sooner or rather than later, that we might get another NFSW like frisky portion of the story between Crystal and Briella. I'm not going to be surprised by that, because I know they still have to do the fur convention arc if they're still planning that. Michelle, that is, if she's still planning that. And of course, like I said, I still have this belief that, Crystal's going to get similar, if not identical powers to Briella. And when it's all said and done, one of the last things will be, chapter-wise, when this story series is done, whenever Michelle does end it, which probably won't be for a long time. I've got a feeling these two, if that happens, if Crystal gets similar, if not identical powers to Briella, that they're going to go crazy. They are going to have a finale NFSW like chapter, or kind of erotic chapter, if you will, that, believe it or not, would make anything, I'm not saying this would happen, but I wouldn't put a pastor to do this, for a finale, if they go this direction, would make anything that the melting Mia series, which I'll get into in a bit, look tame. It will make it look tame if they go this direction, especially towards the end of the story when it's all said and done. But yeah, those are still some of the things I think is going to be happening, or at least from a very theorizing, perspective. I could see it happening, just based on what's going on in the story. But we'll see. We'll see. But that's not the only story she did in the past few days, or she published in the past few days. I do recommend checking it out. But now, let's get into the story that she just started today, here on May 1st, the first day of May. That is an annual, yearly tradition for a lot of artists and writers. And that next story is the third season, I guess you'd call it, the third season premiere, the third year premiere, the annual premiere of the Melting Mei series. And that's M-E-I, because that's the main character's name. Melting Mei series. And it basically does leave off where Part 9 left off last year. Now, Part 9 was originally supposed to debut today, but basically Dizzy Arts, Michelle, put up a poll, asking anybody if they would like to see a preview of, the ninth part, basically a preview of what 2023 is going to offer. And unanimously, a lot of fans said, yes, we want to see it. And thus she gave it to us. And it basically starts off, by giving us our first major, I would assume it's major, or going to be major plot point, or at least subplot, if you will. Major plot point, subplot, however you want to view it. Because, basically, to recap, there's this lady from a business, a very multi-million-dollar business, I would assume, enterprise, that's, basically known to be in the same, I guess you could say, business genre, if you will, that Zahara's massage business is in. So this lady, I can't think of her name right now, but again, I'll provide a link, like I usually do, in the description. You guys can check it out. But this lady, she wants to basically make a deal with Zahara. She wants to make a deal to own a majority of Zahara's business, or at least get a major percentage of the business. And Zahara is one of those few massage businesses in the region, if not in the city, that is saying no. She's like, no, not going to happen. So this lady, who's like the CEO, she's the boss mainly, she is basically undetermined. She is not going to be denied. So she basically, talks to somebody. Her name is, I believe her real name is Elizabeth, but she's a shapeshifter, apparently. She is a shapeshifter, or at least she could disguise herself very well to where nobody can identify her. And basically, this lady who runs this business has hired her on because she's had others that have, pretty much helped her out, but not, succeeded in some areas. But she's basically relying on this one girl to use her mastery of disguise to get what she wants. And this girl, like I said, I think her name's Elizabeth, she's thrilled by this because not only does she get, potentially paid for, basically trying to find out the secret, trying to, get something to bring back to the CEO and all that. But she also, at the same time, gets a bit of a relaxation. In other words, she can basically get essentially because it's being paid off or being paid for, I'm assuming by the CEO lady, she essentially can get a free, free massage, free mud bath, and all that in the process, while at the same time trying to figure out, okay, what is this secret elixir, the secret, formula and everything that this Zahara girl, has, that's making her more popular, if not more successful, than my boss's business. So that's basically, how the plot, the subplot, whatever it's going to be viewed as, is set up. That's how it's set up. And of course, they do end the story with both Zahara and Mei getting intimate, gooey, meltily intimate, if you will, even, basically turning themselves into a new landscape and all that, to where basically part 9 ends with Mei basically seducing Zahara into turning into goo, kind of swallowing her, eating her, absorbing her into her body or into the pool that she's now occupying. Because another thing we find out, towards the end of last season, is the fact that Mei has quit her job, and now she's, basically, she basically quit her job, and now she's basically, living out her new job by basically being the mud bath, the special elixir that, the clients that come in for massages can soak in and have pleasant sexual moments, even unbeknownst to them, until they're until they get out, until they experience them, and then they kind of, acknowledge, oh, this is the best experience I've ever had, kind of deal. And so, anyway, long story short, that's what Mei is doing. And at the end, like I said, she kind of, at the end of part 9, that is, she basically, seductively gets Zahara to turn into goo and absorb her into the pool body she now, she now is. And, just, remain there, like momentarily just rippling and everything, until Zahara basically gets into it. And like I said, they end up creating a kind of a temporary little land, if you will, to where Zahara basically creates like a little ravine of chocolate magma, as they call it, chocolate ooze lakes, if you will. Mei responds by creating little mountains of her, out of her upper region, if you know what I mean, that get turned into volcanoes thanks to Zahara. And they just go swish and swirl, mix together, blend together, until the end result is basically coming to a climax, if you will, and then reforming into the fused version of Mahara, or Mara, if you will, not Mahara, but Mara, which is a combination of both names, and then going back into the pool for more fun. Well, here in part 10, basically we get more of that little plot going on. We get more of that plot going on here in part 10. Because here, it starts out kind of like with part 9, but this time it's a customer who Mara, the fused version of both Zahara and Mei, greet to basically affirm the appointment she has made at a certain time. And unbeknownst to them, though, because we find this out later on, like I mentioned earlier, unbeknownst to them, this client, this Courtney, that's coming in for this appointment, is actually the Elizabeth that we talked about earlier. And what happens basically is, after they confirm everything with quote unquote Courtney, Mara exits herself out of the main area, the main reception area, and before that, she escorts, I guess you could say, Courtney to a certain undressing area so she can get ready for the massage part. And while she's doing this, like I said, Mara, the fused version of Mei and Zahara, like I said, relieves herself into another room. And this is where we kind of see exactly, or kind of read and visually in our minds can see how this merging happens sometimes, or demerging happens. And that is the fact that one of the things they've been practicing is for Mei to basically to become, for Mei to become the pool, become the mud bath, if you will, that the customers enjoy. She exits out of the mouth of the Mara fusion, or the Mara fusion, and it's a bit of and it's a bit of a, it's a bit hard for Zahara because basically what it is that when they do this, the person that is gonna resume the human portion of basically stay in human form for a bit has to basically focus and balance themselves to not collapse into a puddle of goop and everything, and try to basically reform into being their original selves. So for Zahara, because Mei has a little bit more experience in this area, or with the powers anyway, she basically, since she runs the business and she's the one that does the massages and everything, but Zahara has to basically has to be the one that stays human, while Mei goes and becomes the mud bath. And like I said, the way they do this is, Mara, the fused form, opens her mouth, and the white ooze, as it's described, as Michelle describes it, the white ooze as Mei, leaves out of the mouth and into the pool. But she's encouraging Zahara to focus so that she could become her human self again, her original self. And even though it takes a bit for Zahara to do it, she ends up accomplishing it without a problem. And that's pretty much how that diffusion between the two occurs. Even Zahara mentions that it takes a bit more it's going to take a bit more practice for her to accomplish that. And they say, hey, after this appointment, if we got time, we'll do that. So anyway, Zahara comes out, greets Courtney, quote unquote, who's actually the Elizabeth character, greets her, takes her to the massage room, does the massage for her. Well, Mei is just intimately rippling, resting as the pool that she is now, that she now is, to, while she, awaits, Courtney's presence, if you will. So yeah, Mei is just resting as a pool and everything, in the back room, where she's located at as the mud bath. And basically, to get to the point here, after Zahara does the massage, she offers up the additional service, if you will, to Courtney. And Courtney, quote unquote, takes the offer and lays down in it. She lays down, she disrobes and then settles down in the pool. Now, the difference, one of the different changes, or biggest changes that they made, and it was actually Mei's suggestion to Zahara to make this happen, is they placed cucumbers on the eyes of the clients that take the mud bath. The reason they do this is because it allows, without being visually seen, it allows Mei to have more mobility. Because when they first started doing this, all Mei basically was, I guess you could say, relegated to was, just being, the water and, kind of massaging, if you will, pleasuring, we'll put it that way, pleasuring the clients, underneath. Basically, submerge-wise, she had to, pleasure them that way in certain areas. But ever since, she suggested the cucumber idea to cover their eyes and give them that kind of, I guess you could say that ultimate peace and tranquility, if you will, with the massaging. or with the mud bath, that, ultimate bliss of peace and tranquility, ever since she suggested that idea, like I said, it allows her to now not just continuously submerge-wise, massage slash pleasure the, the clients and all that, to the ultimate peaks, if you catch my drift. But it also, because the eyes are covered, it also allows her to, appear above the surface. Like she creates these little tentacles or tendrils with her face on them or something. And she's able to kind of really get, more intimate and more massagingly pleasurable, if you will, with the clients. And she does that here with Courtney. But Courtney then all of a sudden notices that tingling, that little tingling feeling that's always advertised. And she's kind of like, well, what the? She kind of gasp a little bit, feeling this tingling feeling again. And I'll mention that in a minute. Mention why I said again. I'll mention that in a second. But basically, she notices this, kind of jumps up a little bit, and then basically what she does is that she takes out a vial. She has a vial packed away somewhere. I don't know if she snuck it in or whatever, but she has like a bit of a vial with her. I don't know if it's on her neck or whatever it is. But she has a vial, and she tries to scoop up the mud bath, or at least she tries to scoop up this, special mud bath, this elixir, if you will, that she has no idea is an actual person in Mei. Tries to scoop her up and can't do it. And she runs out of time. And she acknowledges to herself, well, not gonna get paid today, or something like that. She's basically acknowledges that, she failed once again to get what she's assigned to get, and all that. She failed in getting, this mud bath, this elixir, if you will, to try to figure out, okay, what is, the secret here? What is, allowing Zahara's business to, to basically, take off, if you will, and be the success that it is. She's wondering, she's wondering what's going on, right? And I think I'm trying to find the area here. Hold on. Let's see, trying to find it. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, she basically grumbles. She basically grumbles at the fact of so much for an easy payday. And then she basically searches around the room for either an unopened bottle of the formula or anything that might help her collect a sample. But she doesn't have the time to do that because Zahara interrupts her by knocking on the door. And she has to basically end her search there. So after Zahara escorts Courtney out of the room, and Courtney, thanks her for the service, and I think even pays her, which is not really her money, it's her boss's money. Zahara comes back in and everything, and asks, like she normally does, she asks Mei how it was. And Mia's like, she was quite fitting, but I don't think she was satisfied. And Zahara's like, well, what do you mean? And then that's when Mei tells her she tried to steal a piece from me. And Zahara basically has this reaction like, again? Because obviously now it's pretty much, I guess you could say continuity based in between part 9 and part 10 here, that, that it seems that all these previous clients that have been showing up to take this treatment, if you will, have been doing so with only one purpose, and that is to try to steal a sample of Mei to figure out what's going on. And, of course, like I said, this frustrates Zahara to no ends. but Mia basically easy for me to say, reinsures her that nothing is going to happen. Nothing's going to happen, that nobody's going to be able to do it and everything. And she says this by coiling herself around, around and underneath Zahara's clothing, to the point that it causes them to merge back into Mara, so they can practice once more on what they need to do. And the way she does this is she basically turns Mara into a big snake. She causes the fused version to become a big snake and everything. And, basically they make sure they have plenty of time, which they do. And so what Mia does is she uses her powers, her ability to stretch an arm out to the hallway, lock the doors, put a out to lunch sign up there, or at least turn the "we're open" to the out to lunch deal, and then basically get back to intimately practice business, if you will, with Zahara. And by forming the snake version, it allows them to practice what they did earlier, and this time around Zahara is able to keep her form while they do the diffusion part. But then they get intimate from there, where they start basically as snakes, start to devour each other. They start to really get intimate. They coil around each other. They try to eat each other kind of deal, until they get wrapped around each other just enough to where you just see a big old, round blob, basketball-shaped blob, if you will, in a place that distorts, here and there, and it shrinks down, as they just keep going and going, to the point that they eventually explode. Yeah, they eventually explode all across the room and everything, and even hint at the fact that they might do it again because they still have plenty of time. So yeah, overall, the return to form, if you will, for the story, I think is really good. Part 9, like I said last year, gave us an idea of what we were in store for, and it did not disappoint. And part 10 here, returning to form of what we're used to seeing with Zahara and Mei, I think was great. But I also like the fact that we're getting a bit of a plot element or subplot element here with this Elizabeth girl, Courtney, if or whoever she decides to disguise herself as. I like the fact that we're getting a plot point here to where now it seems that this lady that we met in part 9, the CEO lady, is going to do whatever it takes to find out this secret. She's going to do whatever it takes to get this secret as her own. So it's so basically it's like I said, it's a nice little take and return to form with this series. Can't wait to see what she has planned. It looks like just by the fact that she released it on the 1st of May, it looks like she's going to be doing it possibly every Monday or Tuesday or even Wednesday, but I don't think she wants to get too close to Metamorphosed Malleability. So I'm assuming it's going to be every Monday or Tuesday, maybe even Sunday, depending on when she gets it finished, so that we will have enough for the month. Now, if she does it every week, which again is the obvious goal, you're looking at the 1st, you're looking at the 8th, the 8th is going to be, part 11, the 15th will be part 12, and everything's going to be the 22nd will be part 13, and then the 29th, which will be the last one for this year, will be part 14. And then if she feels like it, she might give us a sneak peek of 2024, because she's even alluded that she's already got ideas in place for that installment. But so far, I like what I'm seeing here. I like the continuation. I like the idea we're getting a plot point. And there are some that are even suspecting, even far back as last year, after they read the sneak peek for this year, there are some that are assuming this Elizabeth girl is going to join in with Mia and Zahara, and we're going to have a trio and everything at the end of the day. They could all shapeshift, get gooey-fied and all that, and even fuse together. So we'll see what happens. That may be the direction she goes in. It may not be, but we'll see. We got a whole month ahead of us, and I cannot wait. But let me know, and also, if you're a fan of Metamorphosed Malleability, she is going to be doing a Melting Mei special edition on that. That's non-canon to what's going on with the series right now, but it's a good chance you'll be doing one for Metamorphosed Malleability as well. But overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing with this story, as well as the Metamorphosed Malleability series. And all I can say, guys, is if you haven't checked out Desi Arts yet, Michelle, I recommend you do so. I think you will enjoy what you read and visually see in your mind. And honestly, guys, that's all I can really say on this. So till next time, God bless. Take care. Michelle, I cannot wait to see what you got planned next. And until then, guys, I am out.